Well, good morning. Welcome to Walking Boxing. It is Monday, August the 5th, 2024, and what a weekend in boxing, as what seems to be nearly every weekend at the moment, doesn't it? I'm just out with my little mate Neil again this morning, as always. He's recovering well. He's been on medication for an eye injury. He actually poked a stick in it a couple of weeks ago as we're walking, and I thought at the time he might have done something, but we thought we might just give it a chance just to see how it pulled up, but has gotten sort of worse in the last sort of week or so. So took him to the vet, and now he's on about 10 different medications and antibiotics and everything else. But I'll tell you what, they talk about the cost of living crisis at the moment. Not much chance of that if you're a vet, let me just say that. I think I've chosen the wrong profession because just for a consult for about 10 minutes and a bit of medication, almost bloody a week's wage, I tell you. But anyway, that's a different story. It's interesting, we've just been walking along the road as we always do, and this is not boxing related, of course, but we came across about 150 cockatoos. And obviously they like to stick together, and that's fair enough. But they're all on the side of the road having a bit of a feed. I don't know, they must find in the grass, the seeds or grubs or whatever they eat. And we had nowhere really to go. We had to walk past them, or almost through them actually. So, oh well, all right, not much we can do. So we walked through, and out of the 150, I reckon 149 of them scattered, cut for it, and said, oh, it's a dodgy human there, and that little thing with him. So they cut for it, and but I looked down, and there was one little cockatoo who just was still down. He just looked up at us, almost shrugged his shoulders, you could almost say, and just went back to eating. I thought, mate, you are a badass cocky. Your 149 friends left you, and you just stayed there by yourself and continued to have your breakfast. So shout out to that little cocky. So on to the boxing and success again. We now have our second Australian medalist, Caitlyn Parker, with a 4-1 decision over Khadija. I think that's how you pronounce it, from Morocco. Fantastic effort. She's our team captain. She was awesome, and she joins Charlie Senior as our other Australian boxer to medal at these games. So, and look, I think I'm pretty sure it's the first time it's happened where we've had two Aussies at the same games that have actually been guaranteed medals. I might be wrong, but I think that's the case. Of course, Harry Garside went very close in Tokyo when he won bronze. Unfortunately, run into Andy Cruz, and I've said all along, sometimes it can purely depend on the draw. You could have some of the best fighters on the same side of the draw, and you might get two fighters that probably should be fighting for the gold who meet in the quarters or the semis. That's just the way it happens. So, and look, I've got to say, it's probably about time that we are starting to get these results. And I know we haven't made the finals or anything yet. We've won the bronzes, and that's great. But it's been 28 years since Boxing Australia probably joined the program and got an international coach. They joined the AIS, the Australian Institute of Sport, and managed to get some funding and really invested in amateur boxing. And so far, we probably haven't seen results. Yeah, we've won Commonwealth Games gold medals, which has been obviously fantastic as well. I think we've won, what was it? I think we had 3 in 2002. I can't remember how many we had in 2006, but along the way we've had, I remember Andrew Maloney 2014 was a special moment, and I think Sky Nicholson, and there's been a lot anyway. So we've had quite a few Commonwealth Games gold medals. So that's probably the first tick, because up until that point, I think Robbie Peden won in '94, and before that we hadn't had really any success for a long time. So I suppose that's the first tick. But now that we're managing to make semi-finals at the Olympics, I think it's time that we get, maybe hopefully, either Charlie or Caitlyn into the final. And I'm not saying they've got to win gold. I mean, that is a monumental task, believe me, to win Olympic gold in boxing. But I would love to see just one of, well, hopefully both of them, of course, but at least one of them make the final. And whatever happens, happens. But I think that would really again tick the box as far as the progress of Australian amateur boxing, especially when we had 12 fighters qualify. I think we had the most of any nation, which is a massive tick in itself. That we've had 12 Aussie boxers for the first time ever. Again, more than the US, and I know there's different qualifications, different zones and regions and all that sort of stuff, but that is such an unbelievable effort by the Australian boxing team. And even the ones, look, we had 9 fighters eliminated in the first fight, and I know there's been a lot of critics about that. I don't sort of criticise because I know how hard it is, but I just see the quality of our fighters, it is there. The problem is that all the other nations are obviously improving a lot as well and making it hard for us. But I think the quality of the boxers has improved so much over the journey. But now we just have to see results. We have to. We won't have to, but I just think it's time that we get a fighter in the final. Then whatever happens after that. So let's hope Charlie and Caitlyn both make it. On to the Crawford Madrimov card yesterday. Yeah, I thought it was a success. Obviously did the watch along. I thought it was a really good card of fights. A couple of upsets, of course, or near upsets. But you know, there were doubts that they would get a crowd. They did that. I think it was a bit of a masterstroke having Cruz and Andy Ruiz on the card. They've got big followings in that part of the States, in Southern California. There were doubts obviously about the time or the location and the time of the event as well. I think it started at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. It was about 35 degrees Celsius. I'm pretty sure it's around 100 degrees Fahrenheit. Yeah, it was a good day of fights, and as I said, there were a couple of upsets on there as well. Didn't watch all the fights. I know that a lot of you guys and girls out there did, and that's a credit to you. I think it started at 6:30 in the morning, so yeah, on a Sunday morning, unless it's one of those big reality cards from Saudi Arabia, I'm not going to be doing that. And look, especially with the card itself, look, it was solid. It was a really solid card, but all this talk about it being, you know, the best card ever and all the rest of it, yeah, I just never bought into that, and especially when the Tim Tszyu Virgil Ortiz fight fell through, I think that really took away a little bit of the appeal. But overall, look, a really good, solid card. So Andy Ruiz, I caught the last bit of his fight, the 7th round stoppage of Moran. Yeah, look, these are the fights he has to have. He did struggle a little bit. Moran definitely had his moments, of course, but I thought Andy Cruz, only his 4th fight, he will get better and he will be a world champion in the making. Don't worry about that. The next one, well, David Morrell, I wasn't really impressed with him at all, if I'm being honest. A little bit like David Benavides a few weeks back. I thought he really struggled at the weight at 175, coming up from 168. He's got a lot of work to do, especially with, well, I know Beterbiev is approaching 40, but then they're, of course, fighting in October, him and Dimitri Bivol. You would think that Benavides, this is David Benavides I'm talking about, would get the winner of that, and then maybe the winner of that would then fight Morrell. I don't know, but I just think, he had 11 fights. I think he's got some work to do if he's going to be a main player, and I think he's just realising what a massive jump it is from 168 to 175, and all of a sudden your own body's got to carry the extra weight. You're punching guys who are big, solid 175 pounders. And as I said, just like David Benavides found a few weeks back, I think he needs to make some adjustments. And yeah, if he's going to be, and maybe get a few more fights, if he's going to be a real player at the weight division. Then we had, forgive me, there were so many fights yesterday. I'll just try and think my way through them. Martin Bole with the 5th round stoppage of Jared Anderson. It was classified obviously as an upset, but geez, Anderson's had doubts about his commitment to the sport for a long time. Bole, he's from the Republic of Congo, I think they said, actually lives in Scotland, and he had the tartan trunks on too, which I thought was a real nice little gesture to his adopted country. So So yeah, look, good on him. I mean, he made the move to Scotland. I'm assuming his coach is from over there, and really has committed himself to the sport. And you could see that yesterday. He was a hungry fighter. And Anderson, even though he probably had more ability and was more of a prospect, I thought that Bole just fought the perfect fight and really made a statement. And now has entered the heavyweight sweepstakes, hasn't he? There's some big fights out there for him as well. The other heavyweight fight, Andy Ruiz and Geral Big Baby Miller fought a draw. Now, I must admit I had it heavily in favour of Geral Miller. I think I might have had it 115, well, not heavily, was it 116, 112? Might have been 115, 113. But anyway, I could probably see why they called it a draw. Look, I think it obviously depends on how you score the fight. I just saw Miller coming forward, pressing the action, being the aggressor, being busy. I saw Andy Ruiz gassed after 3 or 4 rounds, purely in defensive mode. Yeah, he threw some okay punches, but was on the back foot the entire night, and I just don't think he really did enough to get the draw. I really don't. I thought, I'm not surprised it was a draw, of course, because Andy Ruiz is a big name, a lot bigger name than Miller. But I really felt for Miller, who really, I thought, conducted himself very, very well after the fight, by the way. So did Ruiz, to be fair, and he did have a broken hand, apparently. So, but yeah, so I must admit, I thought Miller won the fight, but not surprised that they gave it a draw, because that's boxing, isn't it? So let's see if we see a rematch or whatever. But either way, both of these guys will get some bigger fights down the track now, certainly with Bole in the mix as well. There's a new little mix in the heavyweight division at the moment of some big fights, and you throw in Zhang and Parker and these types of guys outside of the big three, of course. And yeah, we've got some big fights to be made. Then the co-main event, Jose Rayo Valenzuela. What a performance from him. He lifted the WBA 140-pound title from the crowd favourite Isaac Cruz. Now, I didn't think he could do it. I'll be honest, I thought that Cruz would stop him at some point, but he absolutely fought brilliantly. Master game plan by Robert Garcia, and credit to Valenzuela for being able to put it into practice. I thought he was great. Thoroughly deserved his win. A little bit disappointed afterwards that Cruz sort of played the robbed card. I think even he knew, and the body language of both guys after the fight, I think he knew he'd lost. But I thought Valenzuela, he had great range all night. He kept Cruz at a distance. Whenever Cruz did get in close, he would either step off or tie him up or punch with him. So yeah, very, very impressed with Jose Valenzuela. I would love to see him in a unification fight with our man Liam Parra. I think it would be a fantastic fight. Similar styles. I think Liam's maybe a little bit faster than Valenzuela. Valenzuela, but trained by Robert Garcia, it's a big factor in it, and that's the fight I would love to see. And then to the main event, everyone's talking about, of course, Madrimov and Crawford. Terence Crawford getting the unanimous decision. Look, I did have him winning by, I think it was 115, 113, which is, I think, what 2 of the judges had it. The other one had it, I think, 116, 112. Look, I know there was a few people with the knickers in a twist a little bit about it, especially Eddie Hearn. Look, a great performance from Madrimov, but I think Terence Crawford, for me, definitely won the fight, but very, very unconvincing, very unconvincing. Look, maybe we underestimated, or no, I might have underestimated Madrimov's ability. I thought Crawford would put on a signature performance and win comfortably. I never thought he'd stop Madrimov, but I thought he would win a very conclusive decision, but it was far from conclusive. Madrimov definitely had his moments. Look, he's an excellent fighter, very, very good fighter, but I just thought Crawford struggled to get out of first gear for the entire fight, really struggled to find his timing, his range. He just never really got going, and even when he's tried to really turn up the pace like we've seen him in past fights, he was just missing the mark. He was falling short. His timing was so far off. Madrimov again was awkward, but yeah, if this is the Crawford that wants to fight Canelo Alvarez, I would be strongly advising him against that. And I've been pretty vocal to say I would love to see the fight, and I think Crawford would stand or would have a great chance. But with the caveat though, that I wanted to see him at 154 first. And from what I saw, he didn't carry the weight very well at all. And I think that would end pretty badly for him if he did fight Canelo. So he got the win. He's a 5-division world champion now. So all the best to him, but stay away from Canelo, I would think. But good day of fights. Anyway, check it out on YouTube if you haven't seen it. Guys, that's about it for today. I'm going to get Neil home, get something to eat, and get on with the day. So that's it for Walking Boxing. We will catch you tomorrow.